French authorities have banned protests in Paris, which has seen demonstrations over the past few days. They were in response to the decision by President Macron's government to force through, without a vote, plans to raise France's retirement age from 62 to 64. Alex Rossi has more from Paris.
This is Place de la Concorde. Over here, you can see the lower house of Parliament. That is, of course, where the French government forced through this legislation using special constitutional powers. And that's one of the reasons that people across France are so very angry. And it's hard to overstate, really, just how furious people are about the raising of the retirement age. At the moment, it's 62. It's going to go up to 64. But part of the sort of French ideal, part of what really cuts to the core of being French, is the idea that you can have a very comfortable retirement and a state pension. Now, the problem the government says with all of that is that people across the country are getting older, the demographic is changing, and as a result of that, people are going to have to work longer to pay for it all. There are fewer workers, and their answer is to raise the retirement age. What you hear here on the streets, though, is people say that President Macron is really just a friend of the rich. What they would like to see to solve this problem, and people do acknowledge, even though they're opposed to it, that there is a problem, is they would like to see taxes being raised on the wealthy. Now, in terms of the unrest, we've seen over the last couple of days very big protests here on Place de la Concorde. You can see here there's police here, and there's police all around here. The head of the police has banned people from gathering here tonight because they don't want to see more violent confrontations. You can see over here that policemen are checking people's ID papers. There are plenty of people out here tonight, but many of them are tourists or families just enjoying their Saturday evening, but they've been banned from gathering here. We're hearing the sound of sirens around the city. There have been meetings and marches and demonstrations spontaneously happening around the capital. I think the big fear, though, for President Macron is that this kind of civil unrest we've seen, this industrial action, will spiral out of control. And it's worth bearing in mind that the raising of the retirement age is not simply an issue that this government has grappled with. It's been a rail of French politics dating back a few decades. I think the calculation in the Élysée Palace is that the hope is that they knew that this would be unpopular. They knew there would be a huge amount of turbulence as a result of that, and we're seeing that on the streets. There's garbage across the streets of the capital because, you know, refuse collectors are on strike. But he hopes, I think, that it will peter out sooner rather than later. The danger, of course, for him and his government is that actually this gains massive momentum and it goes on for months or even longer and causes paralysis across the entire country.